Welcome back. This week's project is a bit of a two-in-one. I've got a lovely swath of fabric. I actually bought new fabric. I know, shocking, but it was on clearance. Clearance was on sale, and then I had another 20% off coupon. So it was very cheap, and I got end of bolt and remnant and all the things. I've already cut it out, so bear with me. You get chunks to look at, not like this one. But it's this lovely bird print. See if you can maybe see it. And I got 4 1/3 yards of it, and I actually needed like 5 1/4, I think, to make the jacket and skirt. So I will say that took some engineering, and you get to watch the end result of that. But this is the pattern. It's Simplicity 8747, and it's a 50s jacket and skirt. And then I'm going to, it doesn't call for lining for the jacket, but because it's a rougher, it's classified as outdoor fabric, but I'm going to use it for a jacket. I'm not sure I have enough of this. I've gotten good at making things fit though. But this is what I'm hoping to use for my lining. It's nice, rich, dark brown. I've got some other stuff in my stash too if I need to borrow from. And then to save space on fabric, normally for collars and cuffs you cut 2, or in the case of cuffs you cut 4. So you have one for the top of your collar and then one for the bottom of your collar. So your collar you have to cut 2. And what I did was I cut 1 of fabric, and then I'm going to cut 1 of the lining. So for the cuffs, I cut 2 of fabric, I'll cut 2 of the lining. And that helped me eke out my fabric a little bit more. I might need some more lining. I think I'll use this for like the collar and cuffs where it might show. And then I've got, I think, a lighter brown I'll use for the bodice. And I wasn't going to line the sleeves just to not add to the bulk, but I'll still have the lining at the armholes. I can tuck my bra edges under, so they will still be nicely finished. So I'm gonna go get started on that. I've decided to start with the skirt just because it's a little bit easier, and after the drama of trying to get it cut out this morning, my brain needs a little bit of a break. And when I cut out the skirt and the jacket, I didn't have enough left over to be able to cut the pockets out of the same fabric, which is fine. That's totally something that can be worked around, and pockets, you have a chance to maybe use a little bit of fun fabric or use something in your stash you wouldn't really be able to have a use for. So this fabric it was originally something in the stash, and then I made a skirt and matching jacket of, but I do have this little bit left. And this is normally the pocket I use for skirts. It's plenty big enough to hold my phone, which, let's face it, the biggest thing I'm ever going to carry. And no, I don't like how big and clunky my phone is, but that's a different thing. And I've seen this, once again, Bernadette Banner, and normally pockets are just sewn in to the skirt side seam. But with hers, she does, I forget what it's called exactly, but it's basically a piece of twill tape that goes from the top of the pocket, and hers are usually a bit more squared off, to the waistband. And basically it helps support the waistband, the pocket from the waistband, so it can't drag down. And I have problems, because my phone is big and clunky, of my skirts wanting to drop down. They're unsecure enough they can't, but it just pulls and feels awkward. So the idea is, I had Mom draw a sketch. There we go. That's normally what I do. It's just, I know this is hard to see. You'll have to bear with me. It's not supported by the waistband, but with squaring it off and placing the pocket a little bit higher into the waistband, we'll see if that gives it a little bit more support. Basically suspenders for my pocket. This is the normal pattern I use, and I think what I'm going to do is just put on the seam, because there's a hem there. Let's cut that off. Make life a little bit easier, shall we? Okay. And then we'll fold this in half and we'll just cut 4 pockets at once. So to make 2 pockets, you need 2 pieces of fabric for each one. So for 2 pockets, I need to cut 4. And it's going to be close. So I think what I'm going to do is bring my camera here, bring this up a little bit higher, and then cut it square across. I think is what I'm going to do. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. For the record, I do not have my life together or have a clue what I'm doing. And I'm not pinning this, which is probably not helping my cause, but there we are. The pocket, it doesn't have to be perfect. Who am I kidding? I'm a perfectionist. So we'll just kind of shape the bottom. Basically, mostly all I need to do is cut off the folds. And I think we'll call that good. I need to even up that edge just because it's kind of frayed. But that's an easy enough fix. And you know what? It's an experiment and it's pockets. It doesn't need to be perfect, and I think if I'm not trying something new on projects and learning new techniques and ways to do things better, then why am I doing this? Because the idea is I want to learn, I want to get better skills. Yes, I get pretty fabric and clothes out of it, but I'm also honing my skills in learning, which is important too. I'm sorry if the light's bad. It's currently dark outside, but I wanted to be able to show you this before I moved on to the next part. I think I did the pocket right. I could still be wrong, but I think I did it right. So this side is going to be my side with a zipper, so it can't have a pocket. So I only get 1 pocket. And I went ahead and top stitched it. I just think it lays a little bit nicer, and because the pocket material, it goes just fine, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to blend as well as, say, using the same fabric or black wood. I just wanted it to be a little bit less noticeable. But it came out really nice. It's sewn in at the side seam, and then I've got the top facing up. And this is why I wanted to show you this sooner rather than later while it still opens up. So this is going to be sewn. I'm going to baste it to the waistband, or not the waistband. It's going to be sewn into the waistband. I'm going to baste it into the skirt here so that when the waistband goes on, it won't be flopping around. I'm not entirely happy with the pocket shape. I think when I cut it out, I was trying to eke 2 pockets onto 1 piece of fabric, so I kind of skimped on the round part. So my phone doesn't fit going this way. It still fits going this way just fine. It just doesn't sit down in my pocket as well as I like. I don't think it's going to come out, but not entirely thrilled. It's okay. Worst case scenario, if I truly don't like it, I can redo it. But I am going to sew this again, A for raveling and B for security, just so my pocket doesn't blow. The top is going to be basted, and then once I move this, I need to do a flat felt seam on the center front here. Excuse me. And then once I get that done, and I need to do something about these edges on the side seam, then I can baste it, and then I will do my other side seam where the zipper is going to go. And after that will be the zipper, the waistband, and the hem. It's actually a pretty easy skirt. The only tricky part, and honestly it wasn't hard, it's one of those things that you look at and you're like, why is this a thing? And then you do it, it makes sense. So they had me do these two little extensions here, and I didn't understand it at first, but it's going to be because at the top they fit perfectly. I just basted it in place so it's not moving around on me. But basically what it is it brings this together so that the skirt's nice and fed basically at your hips, and then it flares out. So once that's on and together, I think that'll be a lot easier for you to see. Yeah, I can't even see it with the fabric and the camera and the, yeah. But I'm going to see if I can work on this for a minute tonight and get a little bit closer done. Can't wait to be able to try it on and show you. I went in a little bit of a different direction, and I decided to do the lining as normal, for lack of a better word. I decided not to do the interlining trick. I couldn't figure out how to make it work with all the interfacing it took. So all I did was I cut out the bodice pieces of the jacket, the front and side front and back front and side back and all of that, and seamed them together like I'm supposed to. And then for the facings, all I did was cut out the interfacing. I didn't cut out facing fabric. And then I applied it to my jacket lining. And I applied it to the lining because I didn't want there to be that visible line on the jacket itself. So I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but there's kind of a line where the interfacing ends, which is fine for the lining. No big deal. And then because the interfacing was designed to be applied to facing and seamed together, because it literally goes all the way around the outside edge. All I did is where it overlapped is I just kind of trimmed it with my little scissors and called it a day. So it overlaps a little bit in some spots more than others, but you know what? It's lining, it's interfaced. We're going to call it a day. So I'm going to go read the instructions and figure out what I'm supposed to do next. Probably pet the kitty. I think the answer is pet the kitty. Ta-da! So this took, it feels like an age, but there was also a week in there where I didn't work on it at all because I had a world-class migraine. And since I can't take anything, I had a world-class migraine for a week. Kitty, do you want to be in the video? If I pick you up, you'll get me covered in cat hair. And there went the little baby ironing board. So I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I ended up using lining for it instead of my original plan was interlining on the jacket, which I'm glad I did. I don't think this was the project to experiment on interlining for, and also my brain capacity kind of dimmed there for a little bit when I was sick. So trying to figure out a new complicated technique was not happening. I like how the cuffs came out. I think it needs a wash and a wear just to help it lay right. I haven't washed this, and normally I wash and iron things before I wear them. My pleats if I'm not careful with how my pleats are arranged, they want kind of big, fun rooster tails, duck tails. It's not a good look. So they either need to be pressed down or make sure I arrange them in such a fashion so that they're not looking wonky. I paired it with a different slip this time because the skirt needed poof. Normally I want big swishy skirts, but I did not have enough fabric for that. I was doing good to have enough fabric for this. But the problem I've discovered with this slip is it wants to peek out the bottom, which is not the end of the world. I think I will just sew a pleat in it all the way around, which is going to be a pain, but I can raise up the hem of my slip and avoid that. And then I also used ribbon to make the straps adjustable. Well, it turns out I need them adjusted to the tightest setting, and the ribbon is slippery enough that it wants to slip. It's fine for the 5 minutes I'm wearing it right now, but going out and about for the day, I think by the end of the day my straps will have lengthened 6 inches and we're back to my slip is hanging out under my skirt, which is still not a good look. So I think I'm going to tack those down. If need be, to adjust them, I can just untack them and adjust them. So that's how this came out. It was a different project, and I'm really happy with how it came out. I think in the future I won't wear the jacket and the skirt together. It looks really cute, but it also feels a bit much. I think pairing the jacket with a plain skirt or the skirt with a plain jacket would help balance out a little bit better. But if I want, I have the option. I can wear them together and kind of have a dress.